Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of Vinyl Stallions!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Vinyl Stallions. Today's guest, we have none other than Zak Ward, guitar luthier. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, that's a good Scrabble word.
Yeah, but Zak is truly immersed in the guitar industry, and you are our first guest that actually works on the production side, like of the instrument space. Correct me if I'm wrong, Spruce, but we have yet to interview somebody who works for a company that is actively making music gear.
No, I think you're dead on with that. I'm excited to dive into this side of music because
Let's do it.
it is the foundation of this thing. And Zak, great to have you on. Welcome to Vinyl Stallions.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. What do you guys want to know?
Well, so I guess, first, just kind of, give us a little bit on your background. We say that you work in the production of music equipment, but what does that look like? And who are some of the companies you've worked for?
Yeah, well, if I were to take it all the way back when I was, I think, 19 years old, I worked at a music store in town here in Toledo, Ohio called Peeler Music. Okay. And that kind of was the gateway towards, everything else for the most part. So worked in music retail. I got to experience pretty much all the major brands. It was one of the biggest stores probably in the country. I was a little too young to know, but I will say that having gone through music retail the way I have, especially the last 10, 15 years, that that store was one of the biggest in the nation as an independent. So I suppose a long story short would be I worked there, and then I befriended a gentleman named Ken who ultimately, years down the road, worked for Reverend Guitars and then ended up buying it. And at the time that the company was growing, he was wearing pretty much all the hats that as it relates to the day and day and sales and shipping and having in his hands in many different buckets. So he first hired a few other people, but I came on and alleviated him the responsibility of handling the sales for opening up new dealers and things like that. So that's kind of how that started. I mean, I graduated college with a website degree, and I was working in that industry when he approached me and basically said, "Hey man, I'll pay you more if you come work for me." But yeah,
that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I've been a musician since I was, 15 or 16 years old. So yeah, and playing in bands since then. So
are you still active?
I am very active.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to talk about it all, but how do you manage having a full-time job in music and then also being a musician outside of that? Do you ever get music overload or?
That's a really good question. Music overload is for me. I have enough time playing music and learning new stuff that I often in my car don't listen to music because there's plenty of it. So yeah, I would definitely say that there is a level of, and I'm not a big fan of new country, and I'm not saying it's bad. Not saying it's,
You can say it's bad. We don't care.
Any of that's, it's great. It's just not a genre that I've swam in that pool per se.
Yeah.
But I don't even know where I'm going with that. I like pretty much everything. except for new country.
Yeah, honestly, that's pretty similar to me. Like new country and new rap and hip hop are like the two areas of music I don't really venture. There
Yeah.
is some new country
You're
that,
turning to country. You asked him a year ago, he would have been saying the same thing. But
well, yeah, but I do listen to a lot of old country, and all the new country I listen to is not like the mainstream stuff you would hear on
that
the
is
radio.
true. I'll give you that for sure. 100%.
And again,
It's funny.
I think that wasn't when it's not when I grew up. You know what I mean? Like it's not. I suppose it was. The new country kind of, in my opinion, started in the '90s with the Garth Brooks and all that shit, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't. I liked like Satan and boobs and beer and heavy metal and stuff like that. Whereas Don't Touch My Achy Breaky Heart, it just wasn't. I guess I just don't understand.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
wasn't resonating.
Yeah, I guess from like the '90s, most of what I like is like Alan Jackson, like Kenny Chesney, Brad Paisley, even although he's like late '90s.
He's a monster player, by the way.
Oh yeah. Brad Paisley, I listen to like basically purely for his guitar playing.
Yep.
Nah, he's a ripper. But Klep, back to your point though. That's it's funny you said that with like just music overload in general. Like I caught myself, to your point, Zach, just like not listening to music on even like my walks recently, just because I'm like you look, you have your shuffles, you'll run albums here or there, but yeah, sometimes you just gotta just digest, and so I've been feeling that recently.
And podcasts, thank God for those because
Yeah, I've been diving in a lot recently to those. Guilty enough.
Yeah, it totally ebbs and flows. Like there's months where it's like every day I'm listening to like 2 albums, and then there's months where it's like I need to just listen to podcasts for the whole month.
I'm with you.
But yeah, Zach, I want to touch on, I guess, the side of business
Sure.
in regards to running the sales of store. So I guess how does the initial part work, I guess? So you have a store. Does companies such as like Fender and other
I don't have
ones
a
come
store.
through? Or so
No.
you never had a store?
No, I worked for Reverend Guitars was a manufacturer just like Fender, just like Gibson. So my job as a sales
Okay.
manager is I dealt business with anybody from Israel that had a music store, anywhere in the world.
Got you.
Before this confrontation, I had business in Russia, Australia, everywhere in the world, United
sweet.
States. Yeah. So I was the guy that was supplying guitars to music stores.
Got you. Okay. That makes
How do you
sense.
like develop some of that business? Like, is it just like cold calling? Like, do you guys pay for leads, or how does it work?
So, about 8 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago or so, I left Reverend Guitars and I started making my own guitars, and I took a job that is the company's called Soldier, and they primarily are known for making guitar straps. However, they make a lot of different products. But this is bringing me back because taking this job is literally starting very similarly to where I started with Reverend 10 years ago. So I can answer that really easy.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely are calling. The nice thing about Reverend Guitars at that time, in Soldier at this time, I guess more importantly, is that the reputation for the products are they're in high regard. Our straps are used by Dave Matthews Band, Taylor Swift, Modest
Dave.
Mouse, Wilco. We make straps for Wilco and Modest Mouse, sorry. Tom Petty. Almost every major player probably has our straps because the quality of materials, and they're all handmade in Michigan currently.
Right on.
It's just you can't really beat it, I suppose. I did bring a couple samples, so
Yeah, let's see it.
rather than just whatever. So the leather tips is really where it boils down to, and they're in most straps. You can look at those ends and think, "Holy crap, things are cheap." Well, this is like high premium leather. It's two pieces. They're actually a form of leather glue that's bonding them together, and then you'll see the stitching that keeps everything together, and they just last forever. And she uses, these are actually, if you look, they're seatbelts. See that?
Yeah, I was gonna say I would trust this more than the seatbelt in my car.
Seatbelt material, so it's a recycled product, green, if you will, and then she has a metric ton of just different ribbon. I suppose we should just do like this. And she has just a metric ton of different ribbon that decorates multicolor seatbelt material, basically. And then also, she also does like high-end leather. Like, this is a base strap, but as you can see here, it's like the
That's
distress
a monster.
with the. So as you can imagine, if you feel
That's
that,
nice leather.
that
though.
suede is going to stop.
Yeah, that is a monster. Damn, I
suede
feel like
on
I'm
the
gonna deadlift with that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do. I won't even say what you can do with this. By the way, if you're watching this, leave in the comment what you would do with this type of leather. But she does this just really high end quality products, and then she also does like little things like this. This is what's called a cuffling. You know, like a shabba-ba-ba.
Okay.
So it's a leather piece and then fabric attached. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. So, so going back to kind of where we started on this, having taken this job a few weeks ago, I had to kind of start back at ground zero. So yeah, but the luxury of the two companies that Reverend, who I worked for 10 years, and Soldier I do now, is that they are pretty much primo quality things. So when you are making cold calls, it's not like, oh, I've never heard of that, kind of a thing. It's like, oh, yeah, those are really nice. So I've had the luxury of swimming in that pond where it's like people already kind of know it's known for good quality. So all of the cold calls, and I've been making hundreds of them in the last couple of weeks with the new company, Soldier, has gone pretty darn well. I would say about a 96% extremely positive, whereas like the other couple percent is like, hey, our business kind of went out of business. We just do this online, and it's like, okay, man, if you ever need anything, sales@soldier.us is my email address, and go from there. I guess I don't know.
Right on.
So, I suppose if I were to, it's almost like anything. You just got to have some knowledge of the things that you're selling, no matter if it's advertising, if it's beer, or what have you. Friendships that you make. There are people that, when I had left my job and went to Soldier, they had like, hey, just give me a call. I'll buy whatever you're selling. So there's a trust factor. There's a friendship factor of being a good person. I've always said, like, if you're just a good person in general, now it's not a guarantee, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer probably took a couple of people out, but if you're a good person, I mean, things tend to go your way. If you're a dick, not so much, right?
Definitely.
So
Karma is real.
yeah, sorry about the Jeffrey Dahmer thing. It's just
It's all good.
Nah, we're Ohio boys.
Yeah.
But
Ohio pride.
yeah,
some pictures.
Resonates.
But yeah.
But so when you say you're calling, is it like, again, just mostly those stores, or because you named a bunch of like huge artists that are repping your brand? Is that something that they've just chosen on their own, and you just see them out and about wearing those straps, or is it calling the artists and stuff directly, or record companies or whoever? Yeah.
No, that's not a thing as much. Now, there are some friends that are artists that eventually I'll reach out to. But that's not my primary thing. My primary thing is trying to get these straps out to, all of the stores. I would say that with Reverend and Soldier, most people found the products on their own and then reached out for like more.
Okay.
I would say maybe on occasion with Soldier, the owners might have saw a picture of somebody that had the strap on, and they just reached out and probably said, "Hey, thanks for wearing our stuff. If you ever need anything else, let us know."
Yeah.
That whole back in the 90s, 80s thing where sponsorships are just getting thrown at people, and it's gone. There's nothing like that anymore. But there's a mutual respect for quality and for really good stuff that if I had a strap and I never met the company, and this thing has served me well for 10 years, and someone reached out from the company, I'd be like, oh hell yeah, dude. I could definitely take a couple more, put my picture in your website. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, Taylor Swift's probably the biggest artist that we have with Soldier, and if that doesn't,
She may just be the biggest artist on planet Earth right now.
yeah, that's
Say, I don't know who would ascend her in popularity.
yeah, I don't know.
I guess
Wilder right now.
maybe the Rolling Stones. but-
Oasis maybe now. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're back.
What's the album? Something maybe.
Definitely maybe.
Definitely maybe. They
That
are.
was one of theirs.
I couldn't, if I would have pulled that joke off, it would have been cooler in real time. But Oasis definitely maybe might be pretty big right now.
100p.
Yeah.
Is what's the competition like? I guess in the strap world, I guess I just don't
Sure.
haven't paid attention to
And,
much to
and I guess to piggyback on that, and the guitar world, what's
Yeah.
the competition in both of those industries?
I'll answer Reverend first because I was involved for 10 years in that one. Everybody, for the most part, has kind of carved their own niche, including some independents that were even not as large as Reverend or aren't as large as Reverend. We're all pretty much friends in the grand scheme of things, with the exception of Gibson right now, mainly because Gibson is still continuously sending out lawsuits to people to this
Jeez.
day. As I have been told, it's recent, as it's happened again. So Gibson's the only one that is contesting the friendships.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it sucks because one of my buyers from Sam Ash, before Sam Ash went under, he went to Gibson and we're pals. And I still consider him a friend, and I don't think anything negative towards him, but it kind of sucks that the upper echelon is kind of still issuing cease and desist and lawsuits and stuff like that. But not my problem.
And I guess on that front, how would you collaborate? I guess with other companies and people that you're friends with. Is there any collaboration, or is it just no stepping on toes kind of thing?
Yeah, no, collaborations do happen, but not between liked instruments. So, Earthquaker Devices, just below where you live, we've done Reverend, and I believe Soldier has pedals as well with their names on them and stuff like that. So, collabs between pedal companies and string companies and things like that, yeah, that happens a lot because we all rely on each other. But as it relates to say Fender and isn't going to come to Gibson and they're going to do a co-op on something, it's just not going to happen. Not even
Gibson
small
neck, a Fender body.
Yeah, that's interesting because I don't know. It's a completely different industry, but craft brewing, you will see two craft beer companies who are in direct competition with each other. They'll collaborate on a specific batch of beer, and yeah, that's interesting. But I could definitely see why with instruments how that might not work.
But Budweiser's not.
True, yeah.
So, yeah,
it's not the giant.
Craft things is a different story. You're talking probably a group of two small businesses doing something to make a bigger splash.
Yep,
But
exactly.
Coors Light's not going to team up with Bell's. You know what I mean? They're not going to come out with something great.
True.
You know what I mean? That's just that is the difference in that.
Okay, that makes sense. Is it kind of interesting, like, I guess to me, the way it seems like you're describing it, when you started out with Reverend, you're like sort of overseeing it evolve from like essentially a one man shop to like a robust company. And now, you sort of enter a similar spot with Soldier where it's, I don't know, maybe like a one woman shop, and you're like, now you've seen that growth with Reverend, and you're going to try to kind of replicate that with Soldier. Is that kind of
Yeah. Basically, it's Soldier will be in business for 20 years, I believe, next year.
okay? So it's not brand new.
It's not brand new, but it's a smaller operation. Reverend's not too much bigger than that, but
Okay.
when I ended up becoming like the only salesperson for Reverend, taking those hassles away from Ken, the owner, it allowed me just to kind of run with that, and it allowed him to do what he needed to do as well, without having to worry about calling stores or what have you.
Yeah.
So my job was literally making friends with everybody that we were doing business with, and then my job was to make sure that they're happy, and then that's pretty much it. Sounds really silly, but that's literally what it is in it. And Reverend and Soldier are similar, that we will kind of do whatever it takes. So, and that's part of the reason why it was really easy to transition from leaving Reverend to building my own guitars part-time, and then basically part-time. The other part-time is growing the Soldier business. She has the same outlook as Ken did, which is just make sure everyone's taken care of. I don't care what it is, just make sure everyone's happy. And maybe few people actually have that type of mentality, but that's the reason why I loved working for both of them respectfully, and that's just what it is.
That's awesome. Do you have a company name for like the guitars that you're making?
I'm so glad you asked. No, I do.
All right.
And I brought one here, by the way.
Let's see it.
Let's go.
So,
Yeah, you were showing this to me earlier, and I wish I could fully appreciate it as a drummer.
Oh, this is just glowing too nicely here. No, my company name
it is.
it's called Quater,
Okay.
and then you just asked me how did I come up with the name?
Okay.
Did you?
Well, I'm going to if I didn't. How'd you come up with the name?
I'm so glad you asked. So I love Q words. I always have. However, none of my kids have a Q name. But
You
know how
think
you're looking.
to name one of them Quail?
No, not like eggs or poultry or whatever, what have you. You know how you're just kind of looking for band names and you're scouring the thesaurus or what have you and all that business. So
Yeah.
I similarly did that, knowing that I came up with my own headstock, which is this here, and now provided this might be similar or very, very well may rhyme with other ones, but I did get it verified by other people in the industry that it's unique enough that I could say it's mine or identify as mine, and that was pretty important to me. Headstocks can most certainly ruin a guitar. You can have the most beautiful guitar in the world, and the headstock will it will render it undesirable pretty quickly. I could go into a real life example, but I will refrain from that. So, it just so that I came across this word Quater in the Q's, and it had to do with like German mathematics.
Okay.
So the whole math thing and designing, and it kind of all, like for me, it light bulbed in that respect. So this is technically the world's first A-hole so far, as you can see here. This is an all mahogany T-style body. I'm waiting for Tanner over here to stop taking pictures. So yeah, it's a chambered all walnut body, as you can see here. Look how pretty that is, right?
That is
Neck and everything.
beautiful. Look at that.
And then we got some really cool kind of binding. So what makes mine a little different, you'll notice the binding kind of dips down into the binding channel. So I left about 1.5 millimeters above where the binding is, and I sand it down into it. And then you also notice there's no, we'll do it this way, there's no screws. This is all held in by magnets. It's an inset
Ooh.
aluminum pickguard, held in by magnets. So for me, it's just like a super cool, sleek looking,
Yeah.
thing. And this is the Babbage full contact hardware bridge that I'm more or less exclusively using. They're basically like a cylinder system where when you turn the Allen wrench, a cylinder moves the string up and down. The way that these kind of feel in your palm, sorry, drummer,
It's all good.
really sorry. You're probably like, yeah. But the way that these look and feel, I personally think they're the best in the market. I am not even on their payroll, but I will tell you this, I just love them. And I've developed a pretty great relationship with one of the owners. So his customer service was phenomenal. I had an issue with one of my bridges, and he immediately replaced it. Helped me replace it, I should say, too. But the other thing that's unique about mine is I have what's called a front volute that people really don't do. So
I was about to ask what that thing was.
so yeah, I round. It's kind of hard to pick up into the camera
You can see
over
it
here.
for sure. I
Can
see
you?
that right there.
So basically, my truss rod is the spoke wheel, which is the axis is down here. This is how you adjust the truss rod. So it allowed me to be as creative as I wanted to with the back volute coming down here. And my philosophy on this is that it just gives it extra mass from this side and this side, that say something does kind of fall over, that it doesn't crack. It doesn't crack open. So there's a lot of mass at that juncture. And then I do use Reverend's pickup company, which is called Railhammer.
Okay.
They're my favorite pickups on the market, railhammer.com. And then the Reverend Triple Tree, which this product you can buy for your own guitars. You can find it on reverendguitars.com for sale in their store. But this Triple Tree basically holds the 3 strings instead of just 2, which would typically be just the 2 high strings. So we're throwing a little extra down pressure on the G string with the Triple Tree, which hats off to Joe Naylor for that design. So, and this is just one of many, but models that I'm doing, but I wanted to at least bring something to show and tell. But yeah, it's all made from raw lumber, which is fun. And I'll be honest with you, it's kind of like writing a song. Each guitar is literally a song. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. So yeah, also what we can add to the first, I'm pretty sure you're the first guest we've had that has like made his own instrument.
Yeah,
Is that
definitely.
Is there a trophy coming or?
Yes.
Thank
Get him a soiree hat. Get him a soiree hat.
Yeah. Instead, you win a Vinyl Stallions hat.
Well, guess what? Do I?
Yeah.
So, I have a YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/@Quater Guitars, which I'm sure you guys will put in the description.
We will.
Rah-her.
And I would appreciate it if anybody is into the YouTube thing. I literally show you how I build guitars. So
That's awesome.
even for people that have no ambition but want to be a voyeur in that world, you know what I mean? It's dirty, it's nasty. Come take a look and see how these things are made, and it's evolving. There's new things that I've fallen on, that I've learned, or I've learned from another builder, and try different experiments. I have a video with solderless instrument pots, potentiometers. So I did a whole guitar build with just solderless parts, which is typically pretty taboo, can be taboo in the guitar industry because it's not, historically wired kind of a thing. So it's it's like a sideboard, half circuit board, half old school but I like it. It's kind of progressive and it turns me on. I don't know.
Right on. Have you like always been interested in building guitars, or do you think your job with Reverend sort of led you down that path, or?
I had no interest in building guitars,
So
but
then, yeah, what sort of led to that then?
I'm glad you asked. COVID.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, literally, when the whole world shut down, and I had a mask on, and I realized I talked to myself in the grocery store. There's a lot of downtime, so
For sure.
I kind of, in a roundabout way, just started. I was still working at home, but needed something kind of to do. And my first thought was, well, I sell these things. Why don't I just learn how to build them?
Yeah.
That's I've done inventing before, and I've gone down different paths in my life. So my poor wife, by the way, but yeah, I just said, screw it, I'm just gonna start building these things, and that's as simple as it gets. I don't know what to say.
Well, so how many? Yeah, how many?
I think it's up to 8 completed.
Okay.
Number 8's completed, but number 9's almost done. And again,
And are they all similar to that other one, or the one you showed us?
so far, they're not all a-holes.
Oh yes, that's the first.
Is that good?
Are some of them b-holes?
Yeah. Where do we stop?
What's that?
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen one yet.
Tainted
Klep.
love. I like it.
Yeah. Klep brought a show and tell himself.
Yeah. Can you show me exactly what you're talking about? Where would be whole?
I need a drill. We're gonna have to alter that guitar.
Oh, I thought you were talking about on your body. Never mind. So this is a kid's show. I forgot. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say whatever here.
So yeah, the T style body currently is primarily the main focus, and the reason why I chose that was, visually speaking, it looked like it was going to be the easiest to tackle first. But probably in a couple months, I'll have my own version, my actual own design of an electric guitar. Pardon me, and that'll start. I have a couple original designs I'll be doing, and then I'll also be working on a S style, Strat style body here. Probably, I don't know. These were just months throwing out, but probably like February, March.
Okay.
My whole goal and fun is really building my YouTube channel. I'll be honest with you. I'm not interested in trying to do like some massive production of building guitars. I like building them slowly, making just like a song, taking my time, and I don't know how. It sounds like creating a moment is kind of weird, but each one is really different.
Yeah.
But they're very similar, I suppose. So I enjoy making videos and showing people different things, from woodworking, from a like a entry level wood shop. And I just did a my shop tour video recently. So if you start watching the channel now, you'll basically see how things are being swapped out or refined or made better. Mm-hmm. I just put up some new dust collection, stuff like that. So it's going to be kind of more of a journey than anything else, and I'm sure things will change, and opinions will change, and how to approach something will change, and that's kind of my main focus. I have no interest in making 40,000 guitars. No, I mean,
that makes sense.
You know what I mean? I mean, if
You're
it
making
happens,
Krabby Patties, not McDoubles.
yeah, baby.
That's right. That's funny. Is what has been the most just challenging part throughout making these things?
My wife. Yeah. Yeah.
I love
she.
that answer.
Well, I mean, it's true. I love her to death. She's very nice, and She is supportive, but there's always like this thing that lingers. Like, hey,
Like, why are you spending time with me?
why are you in the garage all day? And it's like, well, I'm trying to finish this guitar for somebody. It's like, well, why would you do that? And then, you get paid for it, and then she's really happy. And see, this is why I was in the garage. And then, like, a couple moments pass, and then we're right back to it. Like, hey, why are you in the garage again? It's like I have to go. This isn't going to stop. This is a scratch in the record. It's going to every time. So yeah, I don't know. Is that
one time when you're in the garage, you just got to have the cloth up and just be working on something for her, and then in a couple months bring it out, be like, it was this the whole time. That should give you a couple of years.
Yeah, no, I understand. I
have
a
made
wife.
her stuff.
I also love her, but yeah, I get what you mean.
But you're only a few years into it.
Yeah, I'm not quite a veteran of the scene yet.
Yeah, you probably even had a big blowout yet.
No.
No.
I mean, we fight every now and then, like everyone, but I guess, yeah.
But she didn't like get drunk at a bar and take her top off and start trying to blow some dude. You know what I mean? That's when the challenge of your life really starts to happen, and you need to go over that hill, everybody. Mm-hmm. Something's going to happen where it challenges your teamwork level, and people are going to make mistakes. But guess what? It's how you get over.
Yeah, no, that's like the marriage experience. There's ups and downs.
Yeah,
and
can you imagine if you really talk to your grandma? She's gonna tell you some shit she did. If she was honest, she's like,
see her this upcoming weekend.
ask her. She's like, Grandma, what was the
let
biggest? Like, be honest with me. Like, what was the biggest channel? And she'd be like, during the Prohibition. It's like, well, someone paid a lot of money to see if this bottle would make it. And everybody's got some of that stuff in there, right?
Not grandma.
No?
I almost just, yeah.
Why do you have plastic on the couch, Grandma? Don't ask.
Shut it. Or just what? What?
Yeah. But, life is fun. I don't know. Where am I at? Is this bad?
No,
All right, so back
not
to the
at
B
all.
hole. Isn't that how this started?
This is definitely this is B-roll for sure. No. So, yeah. So, building guitars, I still get to be in the industry. You never asked me about famous people yet.
Okay. Yeah, let's go down that rabbit hole then. Yeah, so who are some famous people you've met through either venture, Reverend or Soldier?
That's a great question.
Or even just playing. Like, I mean, we still haven't even dove into that yet, like the musician side of your life.
Okay. So the one thing I will definitely say is that with any job, there's some form of perk, right? I mean, there just is, and it kind of comes with the job. My brother-in-law works for Gordon Foods, and for the longest time, up until recently, he had a company car that they paid for his gas in his car. Mm-hmm. That is a massive perk. I would take that over meeting anybody famous any day because, my God, get a new car every 2 years and they pay for your gas and insurance.
Yeah.
What a deal. And in the music industry, the band thing, luckily, I haven't experienced a whole lot with Soldier just yet, only a few weeks in. But with Reverend, we made Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan's signature guitar. They're just releasing Vernon Reid of Living Colour, who I've met many times. Tito Jackson, who just passed away, was one of our big supporters. Got pictures with him, got to meet him, and talk about Gary, Indiana back in the day, and asking about equipment and things like that. So those are just a few people. Reeves Gabrels, who's now in The Cure and was with David Bowie for a number of years, and Tin Machine, and numerous other projects, who I consider a pretty close friend on hug level. Like, if you're on hug level, I think that's a good way of saying it. Mm-hmm. Even though we are distance kind of acquaintances, but just a phenomenal human being. But the nice thing about I haven't met anybody, with the exception of maybe of a slight few, but that wasn't Reverend stuff per se. Everybody's been extremely nice. Even like Billy Corgan or anything like that. Once they figure out you're a musician, it seems like a kind of wall comes down where it's like, okay, you're not just some kind of like fan who wants to know what my left ball smells like kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Or tell me how, the exact way you lost your virginity listening to, Bullet with Butterfly Wings or what have you. Which, they get that kind of stuff.
I'm sure that's probably on like the milder side of what they get.
Yeah. But everybody's been amazing to hang out with. Like I said, Tito Jackson just passed away, and he was a super sweet man. He was a monster Reverend supporter. In fact, the last music video that I remember, I don't know if it's his last music video, but definitely one of two last videos. Maybe a few years ago, he reached out and just wanted a different guitar, and he did that, and he also had it in the video. He's sitting there playing a Reverend guitar in the video. He was just a huge supporter and super sweet man, really was. So R.I.P. with that guy. I mean, his band literally influenced so many people, maybe even more directly than directly like the Beatles or something like that did, but most certainly influenced so many people with awesome-ass music. So that's that. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, right on. Rest in peace, Tito. I guess, it's sorry to go back to the guitar making, but I did have one more question about that. So I know you said you learned during COVID, but how did you learn? Did you already know from working from Reverend? Did you do your own research online? Was some of it just due to your experience as a player? A little bit of all that?
Yeah, I'd say a little bit of all of it. I mean, Reverend's guitars are made in South Korea, so there was no seeing anything.
So you were completely isolated from the manufacturing side. Okay.
Yeah, they've once. Yeah, I mean, Reverend history is they started making phenolic body guitars in Michigan, and I mean, long story short, Joe ended up getting some samples of solid bodies, and basically the opportunity of versatility of tone and options were just the wood version rather than a molded plastic type of scenario. So eventually the Reverend wood versions just massively outsold the plastic and phenolic versions, and they kind of just went away. But they're still pretty goddamn amazing. So never, I literally went to the University of YouTube, and I probably have 10, 12,000 hours of watching factory factory walkthroughs or just people building stuff. Everything really stemmed from I sell guitars. Shouldn't I know how to do this? You know what I mean? That's, and I love learning. And I did take some woodworking classes in junior high and in high school at Perrysburg. And, in my late 20s, I owned and started a 3D imaging company, which required a lot of building.
Okay.
So that kind of brought me back to the table saw and drywall and all that great stuff.
So you definitely have an entrepreneurial spirit inside of you.
Does not work with others very well. Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Well,
no,
that's
not
one
true.
way of looking at it.
Yeah.
But you're a creative at heart, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I most certainly think that. I love that. I feel extremely fortunate to not only make albums or create music, perform music still with my band, the Screaming Heathens. to, you know, working in the music industry and talking with and hanging out with all of those artists and meeting all the manufacturers. Like when you get to meet those guys you heard of at Fender or any of the brands, from Electro Harmonics to, you know, Cusack up in Michigan, to becoming friends with big music stores like Brian at Bees Music, or God, I mean, there's just so many different people. The gentlemen at Sweetwater are awesome. The people at Thomann in Germany are amazing. I've got to go overseas and do music events in Scotland and Birmingham, England, and Brussels, Belgium, and you know, and it's the nice thing about no matter where you go, that music, if you have that music connection, musicians can relate to musicians. I can sit in a pub in Scotland and drink some Irish whiskey, or not Irish whiskey, sorry, I just fucked that up, didn't I? Drink some scotch with my fellow Scotsmen, and fucking shoot the shit about, you know, music, what we like, what we don't like, and equipment, or hey, buddy, why do you have that on your pedal board? And all of a sudden, you know, the fan goes away, and it's like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. And one of the very first experiences that were grand, that were like way out there, was I ended up becoming friends with this lady named Nicole, who was the bass player of the Smashing Pumpkins at the time.
Okay.
And this was, I want to say 8 years ago.
I'm pretty sure, so I've seen them once. I'm pretty sure she was the bass player when I saw them.
Could have been. And
yeah, that's right. You were there, Tanner.
There we have it. And became friends with Nicole, and she was interested in bringing Reverend into, and this is before we made Billy Corgan's signature model. And so she kind of had to get past the big man, right? You got to get past Billy. So we were invited to go to the final rehearsal before tour started for the Oceania tour.
Okay.
And so I'll paint a picture, you know, not really knowing what to expect, except I love the fucking Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, I'm 46 years old. This is right where my music erection starts. It's the dick root of fucking music for me, right? And we get to this, I want to say like an indoor soccer. It almost looked abandoned, but it probably wasn't. Just the lights were off because they were doing the lighting still, the cues and things like that. And we walk into this huge indoor soccer thing in Chicago, and they didn't have a stage built up. There was no need for it. Everything was on the ground, but they still had front of house, and they still had the monitor guys and everything, and they're just ironing everything out for the show before they left for like Rock on the Range or something like that. I think
that
was the
is
first
where we saw them, and it was the Oceania tour.
So there you go. That was Nicole.
Yeah, this is full circle right now.
Yeah, and Mike Byrne was on drums, one of my favorite dudes. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he's obviously no longer with the band with Jimmy Chamberlain back. But here's the thing. There is maybe 12 people, 13 people working besides the band, making sure the screens and everything were working, yada, 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 right? And we were there, I want to say, in between 2.5 hours, and they were playing every fucking hit. All of them. Everything. And we could just walk right up to the front. I mean, we could stick our head into the speaker. We had full whatever we wanted to do.
That's sweet.
And the craziest part, like out of body, like nobody truly gets to experience this in the grand scheme of like fans, is like every song, like if they did, you know, Bullet with Butterfly Wings or anything like that, there was no clapping. So like that, boom, and it's like,
yeah, there's like nothing.
There's nobody. I mean, they're working. They're not like, hey, great job. No, there was nothing there. It was empty, and it just was a surreal experience to meet somebody that, you know, you kind of grew up with. I saw Pumpkins for the first time in Lollapalooza with the Beastie Boys and George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars, and
Oh,
it was
wow.
a monster show.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward, now you're in the same room where I'm like talking to the guy. Mm-hmm. It was phenomenal and inspirational. And he is he's very guarded when it comes to fans, but like the 5 or 6 times that we went and hung out with him and the band or what have you, was always like, "Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you again, man." And I was more friends with Jeff Schroeder, the guitar player, that recently left, but I was more friends with him than anything else. And there was a few times that we, went to hang out with the Pumpkins and just hung out with Jeff in the back room and just, hey, how's the tour going, or blah, blah, blah. Tanner was with me one time, right? So this is before Jane's Addiction got in fights on stage. Yeah. But those are things I'll never forget. It was really magical, and again, it wasn't necessarily because of me. It was just that it was my job. And the only thing I'll say to anybody listening, that if it is all something positive, is just to try to be a really good human being, and you have more opportunities to have nice things happen to you. That's about it.
Hard to argue with that.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that.
Well, so let's dive into the musician side of your life. Yeah. So you said you've been playing since about the age of 15.
Yeah, I want to say it was a late start, I think, because I think it was my mom had a Epiphone acoustic that I had in my bedroom, and on occasion I would, have the guitar on and pretend to play in front of a mirror to, Beatles songs or what have you. Mm-hmm. But never truly learned anything. And we had a piano in our basement, and there was just one day I just about had it. I really wanted to. The Slash was a huge influence, and my first major influence would be Nuno Bettencourt from Extreme.
Okay.
And it's like, I want to do this. So my mom played guitar, kind of, and I'm like, all right, how does this work? So she basically took me downstairs, and we had a piano, like I said, and she put little stickers that you see at a garage sale that would say 5 or 10 cents, right? And then she put them on the places on the piano so that I can tune the guitar. And then basically when I learned the first song I remember learning was Paperback Writer, because I think it was just C7 and G7. It's only 2 chords or something like that.
Okay.
And then I'm like, well, how does it work on the piano? So she showed me the C chord and the G on the piano. And so I literally learned how to play the piano and the guitar at the same time, because I would just sit there and
That's awesome.
B7, and then all of a sudden I became some kind of musical scientist, just doing experiments, trying to figure that out. Started 1995, I think it was. My band was called 6 Feet of Earth, and we had the very first CD in the history of that high school, because CDs were still kind of new, and we were pretty proud of that.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And I was really interested in free beer, so I like boobs and beer and those.
The classics.
Yeah. Still classics today. Mm-hmm. Played at Howard's and BG and in Toledo at Frankie's and the Underground and and then at a certain point when I got a little older, right out of high school, I had a band called Lockjaw. We did really well. Had a record deal with Sire Records that was offered to us, and ended up turning it down.
Do they just like want too much control or something like that?
Well, we got lucky because the bass player Ben, his brother worked for the company, and the band was really good. It would be worthy of a record contract. However, the stipulations between what we would have to do, and I could get this wrong a little bit, but it was like, we'll give you $10,000, but you have to re-record your album. Your songs are a little too long; they're not radio friendly.
So they
but
want some creative control.
But we'd have to pay the 10 G's back.
Oh, so it was like a loan, basically.
Yeah. So I was working at a music store at the time, and I just asked the people that, the elders, like, does this sound like a great idea? And they're like, I would never sign anything like that, because I think it was even like you had to pay it back if the sales didn't make it. So, long story short, and that was Chuck Stoll and those guys, and they're like, man, I won't do that. So long story short, I go back to my band, and you're talking 21, 22, those age groups, and basically relayed what the elders said, and the band broke up. They're like, fuck you then, you egotistical bastard. From what I recall, and it could have went a little differently. It's a little fuzzy at this point. So the band just fizzled, But shortly after that, kind of during that, I made friends with people in cover bands, and Jeff Stewart, a guy named Jeff Stewart here in Toledo. We were kind of, hemming and hawing to him, like, oh, you're in a cover band? Like, yeah, I do all originals, kind of. This is a fucking cocky piece of shit 20-year-old comment. And the dude got off the stage. He's like, introduced himself. He's like, hey, my name's Jeff. What's your name? Nice to meet you. I'm like, yeah, okay, guy. And he's like, no. I have my own original band. It's called Starlings, and I do that too. It's just that, how much money did you make the last time you played, Main Event or Frankie's? He's like, yeah, we're actually making like $3,000. And like, what? For 4 days in a row. Because back then, I think it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or something like that, or 3 days.
Yeah, not bad.
And I'm like, what the hell is this shit?
That's good gig money for sure.
And he's like, well, yeah, you can do that too. I'm like, yeah, I can. That sounds better than $300-$400 or whatever it is, which we were pretty much one of the highest paying bands even at Frankie's at that time. We had a guy named Evan Bates who was in high school still, so we were pulling like this massive high school. We would have 200 people stuffed into Frankie's when we were playing. I'm 21 years old, and fuck, these kids are 18 years old, So we had somebody stand out there with a counter next to what's his face, and literally they paid us per how many people came through. Because at some point they like gave us like a couple $100, and like, nah, this ain't gonna fly, dude. Everybody here's for us.
Yeah.
It's packed. They all paid $10. There's 200 people in here. Come on.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, that eventually just evolved into cover bands, and the cover band thing for me started like perfecting the craft of singing, playing guitar, the approach to different things, because now you're learning like kind of like what someone else their approach to things are, and you can start melting potting that. Am I talking too much?
No, not at all.
I feel like I am.
No.
Wait, what's your favorite song? Here, it's your turn.
Favorite song. I don't know how I would pick just one. I guess a song that I've been listening to a lot right now is called Hog Calling Contest by King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard.
I fucking love King Gizzard. I mean, they come out 2 albums a year.
Yeah, that one's off their most recent one.
I do not have that.
It's really good.
I don't have that one. Which one do I have? Hold on. You keep talking.
Yeah, Flight, was it B741, I think is the name of it.
This is the only one I have. Butterfly 3000.
That's a good one. It sounds drastically different from that, because that one's sort of like indie pop-ish. This one's like country blues rock.
Yeah, if anybody's never heard that band, I highly suggest you go out and they're the only band I know that comes out with. Well, not only do they do 2 studio albums a year, they have the live albums too. So like their catalog is is
huge.
rolling in the deep.
They're
as someone
almost
would
at
say.
30 albums, and they've been active for like a little over 10
Yeah.
years. It's crazy.
Yeah, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizards fucking rules. Can I tell you some of my favorite new ones?
Yeah. Oh,
How about that?
absolutely.
See, I'm 46. I shouldn't know any of this stuff. But Hello Mary is. Let me see if I can just pull up their little
I'm
thing.
pretty sure Tanner, when we saw Silver Sun Pickups in Detroit, did they open for him? Okay. Yeah.
So they're one of my favorites. They are Reverend artists. And
Tanner, I feel like you should have known that.
I did know that.
yeah,
Did you?
I don't know if it
Okay.
shows it. Probably doesn't. But I have 4 albums.
Hello, Mary. Yeah. All right. And what is it like? How
3
many
girls, 3 gals. It's a power trio. I don't know how to explain it. Their magic has nothing to do with them being women. It is just super powerful music. The newest single, which is 0%, is a little more mainstream-ish per se, but it is. They all 3 band members are amazing at their craft, and their live show is. You stand when you watch them; it's captivating. I would hope that music progress for them and they continually grow up the ladder of rock, I guess. I don't know how you say that, but extremely amazing.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
them putting on a pretty good show, and I mean, they were opening for like a band that's pretty prominent
Yeah.
in the indie rock space, so I would wager that they're definitely climbing the ladder.
I hope so.
What
I
are
do.
a couple other artists, whether they be new or just some of you that are consistently
yeah.
playing for you?
So this is older, much older, but there was a side. This is an album that changed my life. There's a group called KMFDM, which is an industrial band, and they had a side project that had a few different people, so they called it MDFMK, which is just KMFDM backwards. Okay. But the MDFMK album is hands down, start to finish. It's industrial music is unfucking believable. It is a work of art that just never saw the light of day as it relates to popularity. I mean, they played Frankie's, and I didn't even know about it. I would have been seriously pants down in the front row, worshiping. If you can do that, you can't do that anymore. But just hands down, unbelievable.
Bring back the 90s.
Yeah, where you can drop your pants and yeah. No, don't ever do that. Anybody out there? No. But the other one I would.
This is the part where we put a disclaimer down in the
Yeah,
description.
yeah. If
Vinyl Stallions is not liable for
No.
any indecent exposure charges that may be incurred.
if your
Yeah.
pants come down, we'll salt you.
yeah. The other thing I'll say is like one of my favorite bands to see live. Again, this is a Reverend artist. Is Gogo Bordello. It's a gypsy punk thing.
Okay.
Stop Wearing Purple. I think the song's called Purple. It's just, it's unbelievable. It's got this Russian gypsy violin. I mean, the violin player I think is like 80 years old, and I mean I don't even know how to say it. They had the Beastie Boys drummer for a long time. It's just, the band is phenomenal. It's upbeat music, just like Dropkick Murphys or Flogging Molly, where you just constantly, it's the polka kind of polka rock. One of my favorite bands of all time is let's see, where else? I have a whole bunch of these. Hold on, this will be a good one. Oh shoot. Dead air.
That's all good. I don't know. This
I know.
this is one of my favorite things. Just talking music.
Toledo, Bliss Nova. I love those dudes. That's a Toledo band, and again,
Right
that's
on. Bliss Nova.
Dream, Dreamscape or something like that. Live drummer. I think the brothers, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Keyboard player, drummer. The last time I saw him in that configuration, so it was pretty goddamn sweet. Who am I missing here?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift, George Clinton. Oh, the ghost of the ghost of the saber-toothed tiger is Sean Lennon's project with his girlfriend or slash wife at this point.
Okay.
Grandson is a newer group on the hip hop rock thing that they play all reverends as well. Grandson is phenomenal. Ice Cream Militia just lost a band member, but apparently they sound better now.
We love
Big
the
Stallions. Big Stallions.
Hold on, I'm just popping through my. See, this is one thing. I always buy albums. I don't do the streaming thing.
Well, you're talking to the right people, I say, as you've probably noticed from the vinyls surrounding you. I'm very much an album guy. I still do the Spotify thing, but like my favorite way to digest music is the album.
And
Like,
support the artist directly.
yeah.
I have a small piece of my heart for My Chemical Romance. Nine Inch Nails is one of my favorite bands of all time, but this isn't.
They're from Canton. So that's another Ohio band.
Oh, I got a good one. Oh, what the hell was that? Something Panda. There's a jazz trio with piano, upright bass, and
Is it Land of Panda?
is it OK Panda? Okay. Hold on a second.
Actually,
Sorry.
no, Land of Panda is a jam band in like Akron area. Never mind.
Go. 1 second.
I saw Outcast in there.
Oh yeah, Go Penguin. Sorry. So definitely check those guys out. Again, it's no singing. It's a piano, upright bass, and drums. It's three people at the top of their game.
Right on.
And I think, I mean, there's, I don't know what to say here.
There's no right or wrong answer. That's the beauty.
Yeah, you've
of
given some good
music.
ones that I have definitely not dove into, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know. Quay Bordell is, leave it with that. That's Gypsy Punk out of California. QUELBORDEL.
Quell Bordel.
Quell Bordell. That again is like it's fantastic songwriting, great musicianship. It's upbeat. Like if you're driving, you're just like a Flogging Molly and things like that. It's like drinking Jolt or some kind of fucked up Mountain Dew kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. You got some homework to do, guys. Everybody here, come back to the episode. Start writing your comments on some of these bands that I've mentioned.
Yes.
And tell me if I'm right or wrong. I'm coming back. I'm going to look at the comments.
Oh yeah.
Is that okay?
That is
Until I get a
gotta be
restraining
okay.
order.
special access to the comments section.
Yeah, and I'm going to review what you say. How about that?
Let him know. Let him know. And let him know in his comments and check out the videos.
Yeah, that's true. What's the name of your YouTube channel?
Well, they do it now. There's an @ symbol, so it's youtube.com/@ Quader Guitars, QUADERGUITARS.
Okay. So yeah, we're also sending everyone to the comments of every Quader Guitars video.
Please, yeah.
Yeah.
I play video games at night. My family goes to bed. I'm a gamer. It's kind of guy, and I have people that I've been hanging out in Discord for a long time, and yeah, they comment on every single video because they know how important it is to that helps the algorithm and things like that. So
Yep.
they'll just put my shit on the background and comment, and of course they make fun of me and or say some funny comments, but it is pretty intriguing. It's showing you how to build stuff. I mean, it's I have a video I'm about halfway done editing that I actually made a bench. So not only will there most primarily be guitars building on that, but there'll be woodworking and furniture and stuff like that too. So
Yeah,
Nice.
that's very
Very cool.
cool.
Nah, man.
Yeah, it sounds
that
like
how
it would
to-
be useful to anyone who's interested in carpentry.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it's very. I mean, I've only met one other person that does something similar to what you do, and just breaking down the guitar and really putting it together hand by hand. And I would pop over to his house every couple of weeks, and just seeing like the progress is great. But yeah, I'm definitely going over to check out those videos, and we're honestly getting our website nice and polished here in the month of September. So we'll definitely have a section for like all that stuff as well on our website, and we'll definitely be promoting it there too.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you too, like you had started talking about bands that you'd been playing with previously, but are there any projects that you're actively involved in?
Well, I got the new position in Ice Cream Militia.
Okay. Yeah, we heard they lost a member have an opening at guitar.
Yeah, so I was feeling horny. I would say, yeah, no, the Screaming Heathens is my band. That's just what it is. I mean, I do some solo stuff around town here's and there's,
Is that covers or originals?
all cover stuff. It's
Okay.
It-
Screaming Heathens.
yeah. I would, we mostly do yacht clubs in Put-in-Bay. That's just about it.
Okay.
Sorry, we are in. I don't know when this is going to air, but we are doing Oktoberfest next Sunday. But this might not be out yet, is it?
next-
Like this
next-
Sunday? Like, yeah, I guess, yeah. What date?
This Sunday.
Yeah, no,
okay.
it won't be out. This episode's going to be out on the 24th, but we'll still be pumping
See?
it. We'll promote it. I think my mom might be headed up to Put-in-Bay this
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah, that's true. We
I was gonna
we
say, you
still
look kinda
post about
familiar.
it.
I do. I mean, if you ever
Sorry.
seen John Travolta.
No, I was saying. I was gonna say because of your mom. It was a joke. What the hell, dude?
I was trying to
Karen.
get by it. I was, yeah. Karen, and she is a Karen, just
Does
by
she-
name.
Does she like Neil Diamond? I don't know.
Sweet Caroline. Da, da, da. That's Neil Diamond, right?
That's a panty dropper, man.
That is panty droppers up front.
Granny
That's a word.
panty dropper. Yeah. So
But,
yeah.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. Klep, you got anything more for our friend Zach?
I think we kind of hit on everything.
Does the Peanut Gallery Tanner have any questions that he feels would be great to bring to the table?
When's your next gig with Ice Cream Militia?
I'm not joining the Ice Cream Militia just yet.
Oh, stay
mean-
tuned. Stay tuned. The Stallions will be breaking the news.
Question mark.
You heard it here first.
I never know.
No,
Weirder things have happened.
I do have one
They-
question.
Uh-oh.
What does Zach love to do outside of music, outside of guitar building, outside of music, period?
So the question was, in case the mic did not pick up Tanner, what does Zach like to do outside of music? And guitar building does not count as an answer. Well, it does, but we're like outside of guitar building as well.
I like having sex. I'm not going to lie. I love it. It's fucking great.
You
Relatable.
did say you had kids, right?
I have 4 kids.
Proof is in the pudding.
All of that pudding. There's a lot of pudding that didn't make it. But,
Such as
Shout
life.
out.
I
Hello to
do
the
like...
kids.
That is... I'm not even joking. I love having sex with my wife so far. But... What? But we
I just
do...
thought of Borat. My wife.
Her vagine, like a wet burrito. Sleeve of Wizard. My wife has a great body. And I'm glad I get to share that with her. I take advantage of it. But no, I like going on like we have a trail by our house. I love going on walks. I just like hanging out outside. I'll be honest with you. I love being outside. I
Right
don't
on.
require TV. I don't watch sports. I don't really watch hardly any TV. I like learning or being outside.
Are you into like gardening or anything?
If I probably can now that my office is at home.
Okay.
So probably next year, yes. But I love being outside. And maybe, just with the way kids are today, including my own, pardon me, they're just always inside. I love being outside. Love walking around. I love having campfires. Here's one thing. I got to make a video on this. Tanner knows this. I put casters on the bottom of an old couch, and it's in my garage. And I pop the cat, and they have locks on them. So I roll the the couch out into the middle of the driveway, especially when the sun goes down, and pop up some chairs, and we're just cracking beers, listening to some music with neighbors. And I just absolutely love doing that.
Dude, that is the most 90s country thing I can think of. Like,
Yeah.
you better tell me, like, you're, like, blasting some Alan Jackson or John Michael Montgomery out there while you're doing it.
Come over. I don't know.
I'll bring the tunes, you bring the couch.
I'll roll that motherfucker out there, no problem. And
We'll both bring the beer.
indeed.
That sounds like a rowdy time. Zach, we appreciate you coming on, but we can't let you go. As you know, with all good shows, there is always an encore here on Vinyl Stallions. When we ask every single guest that we have on, but I'll let Klep take it since he can actually speak to you face-to-face there.
All right. The question is, what is your most memorable concert experience?
Oh,
and
that's
it can
a good
be
one.
memorable for any reason, and it can be a concert that you performed, attended, worked, like anything.
Well, I mean, I have to go with like one of the earlier ones. There's been a myriad of different memories that comes to mind, and lucky me.
Yeah, you can hit on a few if you like can't narrow it down to one.
No, I can narrow it down to one pretty easy. So, huge Beastie Boys fan, huge Pumpkins. So, like, my friend Matt and I got tickets for Lollapalooza. In fact, my dad just dropped us off and then came. This is before cell phones, kids, and then somehow we found him at the end and got back from Pine Knob. So.
So this is like when Lollapalooza was a tour rather
Yes.
than like a single show.
So it was a tour, and the reason why it was significantly memorable and stimulating was because it had rained or so, and during the Pumpkins, I believe, people were just grabbing chunks of grass and just fucking chucking it. And you just looked up, and there's just bombs of grass. And I don't recall the exact words, but Corgan was like, if you guys don't stop this fucking shit, we're done. And
That would be super annoying. I feel like it's like funny at first, but then you just get hit with a couple patches of grass, and I'm sure like a couple fights broke out, right? Like
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
I was oblivious, maybe high,
maybe.
maybe a little drunk, and had a big burrito. But the other portion of that concert, is it? The other portion of that concert that made it so memorable is George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars were on the bill. And never in my life have I ever been somewhere where, it's been rock and roll all day. And all of a sudden George Clinton comes out, like does the Atomic Dog, and every single person in the whole amphitheater just turned ghetto out of nowhere. Just it wasn't rock anymore. Everyone was, somehow a hip hop person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they flipped teams almost. It's like you are not you anymore. You transformed, and rightfully so. I mean, George Clinton might do that to you. That might be the magic.
Yep.
He might have some of that chocolate covered spaceship, whatever it is that, just changes the man. And maybe you should go see it. I don't know. But it was pretty goddamn rad.
Yeah, no, that sounds like an incredible experience.
Yeah, something about rain at
Those three
concerts.
bands, and yeah, with the mud throwing and Billy telling him to knock it off.
Oh, yeah.
Hell no.
Oh, I can tell you one more quick one, and then we can call it.
Yeah, let her rip.
Speaking of Billy Corgan, so he came out with a solo album, and I don't recall the exact name because it's like Ola Day or Okla Day or something like that. Anyway, It's under William Patrick Corgan if you look it up. Anyway, he had a hometown show in a school amphitheater, and they got me, Billy got me passes, what have you. So I drove from Toledo to there. But this isn't the part that's interesting. So I want to say halfway through this performance, and it's literally just him on stage with a piano and some guitars. Mm-hmm. Nobody else. Some doofus decides to scream out, "Play some Skynyrd."
Oh my god!
And the shit that came out of this dude's mouth. I'll be honest with you. I am my body went into a shock that the whole play Freebird thing happened to Billy Corgan, and he just ripped him a new one, and I was just like, that is embarrassing. I mean, this is a very small, intimate, really lucky experience to see, and just a songwriter icon.
Yeah,
Literally by himself, and some dude's like, "Play some Skynyrd." It was.
Oh my god, how oblivious! Oh my gosh.
It was cringing, and the funny thing was, Jimmy Chamberlain was just in the balcony seat with Jeff, to my immediate left, because when you're friends with the band, they give you front row seats, even nobody wants this shit, right? It's 4 or 5 rows back, but. It's you in the little balcony area in the corner, that's the band's there, supporting their friend, and all of them were like, so yeah, I'll leave you with that. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, and we'll leave the Skynyrd and the Freebird shouting there as well. Stampede, Stallions. And
Stop
write
that shit.
down. Yeah. Done. It's over. Give it up.
Yeah, we've had somebody else on named Ray Flanagan, who he's a singer-songwriter, plays a lot around Cleveland, and he had some very unique stories about some people shouting Freebird while he was up there playing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, "Oh, you can talk to me, but I can't talk to you."
Yeah, because he would do something similar where he would make a spectacle out of it and try to embarrass the person who's being an idiot. And yeah, it's just interesting how they just have the audacity to yell something like that out, and then the second it gets flipped back on them, they're just it's not that serious, dude.
We need a whole episode on the Freebird shouting, honestly, and just break down that lore. It's everywhere, man. It's in Cars. I just watched Cars, the Pixar movie. It's in that, too. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, I'm rambling. Zach, thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, diving into the world of music. And,
Yeah,
I learned a
one
lot.
more time, let's run through the plugs. So we got Soldier guitar straps. Even though you're not employed by them anymore, we're still going to plug Reverend guitars, Quater guitars,
Railhammer pickups, full contact hardware bridges. That's my pals. Railhammer pickups. I say that. Yeah, that's pretty much all of them.
check out the Quater guitar YouTube channel.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, you'll honestly be hearing from me for some Soldier straps pretty soon, because I was actually just looking at. I have
Cleveland Guitar Riot has our stuff.
Guitar Riot. All right.
And there will be a new location in October, I believe, because they had to move locations. But yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm not too familiar with that, so I'll have to take a gander. But is there anything up in Toledo? I guess anyone that lives in Toledo.
Not yet.
Oh. Looking off to the peanut gallery, I see. Well, hey, like you said, it's good to be nice. good to have friends in the industry where you can collaborate. So, Toledo, look out. But again, Zach, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, one more time, give it up for Zak Ward. And until next time, I'm Klep.
And,
I guess I don't need to pass the mic to you. You already have a mic.
Am I supposed to say my name?
Yep.
And I'm Zach. How you doing?
And this has been another episode of Vinyl Stallions.